So this is my apology video that is long overdue, and I didn't really know what the heck was happening to me, so now I get to come here and present all of this and really say a genuine apology after a very long and confusing journey. And I'll get into more of what that is as I go along, all the things that I want to say. I mean, first of all, to all of you, I'm sure you remember the fat video. That was a really bad video, and I hurt a lot of people's feelings with that video, and it was something that I believed I was making a valid point with at the time, and obviously it was very bad way of trying to make some absurd point, and I'm sorry to everybody who was offended by that video. I mean none of it. Like, none of the things that I said in that video I actually believe to be true at all. I don't believe that there's anything wrong with any kind of person. I believe in accepting and loving all people as they are. I mean, I always have. That's been my message from the get-go. And to explain more of what then followed with a whole bunch of other crazy videos and me going off the chain, me posting videos of this psychic code, me traveling and doing all these like dangerous things. Like I was balancing on these platforms next to a gator swamp, and thank goodness I didn't fall in. So I was diagnosed shortly after all of that with bipolar disorder. And that was what is known as manic psychosis. And if you're unfamiliar with bipolar disorder, you either have these extreme lows where you're horribly depressed, your cognition slows, can't focus, can barely speak, can hardly watch TV, read, write, cognitively think, hold conversations, all of that. And on the other side, you get into a manic episode, and the switch is like that, day and night. And then all of a sudden, it's characterized by pretty much a God complex. You think you're invincible. You think you can do anything. You have all these ideas, all this surge of like confidence and energy, and it's ridiculous and it's unhealthy. And for me, I started to get so crazy that I believe that I was a Spider-Man from the Spider-Verse, like Miles Morales, that Spider-Man, that I needed to get bit by a radioactive spider, and that was coming for me, and then I was going to have superpowers. I believed that the Illuminati was trying to recruit me, that they were communicating with me through TV and radio, and there were all these secret messages. Like, I was off the chain, dude. And I say this not to justify my behavior, but to say, dude, I clinically have issues. Like, I was unmedicated. So now I'm actually on medication for bipolar. So this is why I'm able to even come on here and be stable and realize what the heck I did. I even got into fights with another creator, Sujia. And I mean, that was terrible. I look back at that like, holy cow. Like, it's not even me, dude. I look back at all of this stuff and I'm like, what the hell? Because I didn't know that I was going through it whenever I was. Like, my parents tried to step in and help me and tried to say, like, when I went over to the house and I was like doing all these weird hand signals and saying that the TV, like the news that was on, it was something about North Korea and it was a hidden message and I was decoding it and I was the one that could, decode it for them. And they called it's like mental health services to come and evaluate me, but I knew that they were doing that, so I left. And I went and traveled for like 6 months just doing all this crazy stuff and posting all these crazy videos because I thought that they were crazy. And that's a thing. When you go into manic psychosis, clinically speaking, you start to freaking believe that anybody who tells you otherwise, like believing that spirits are communicating with you, is a very common symptom of this mania. And if anybody comes into your way and says, no, that's not real, that's not, like, you're delusional, you get mad at them. I said horrible things about my parents, like saying that they were abusive, and they're not. They've never been. I said horrible things to a lot of my friends. I lost a lot of friends over this because I believed in so many delusions and was saying ridiculous things. I mean, if you saw some of the psychic code I was posting online, it didn't make any sense. Just a bunch of hogwash. And yeah, so I apologize to anybody that I hurt in that process. And if anybody was wondering why the heck I was posting all kinds of crazy things that didn't make any sense, and you're like, what does this even mean? Because if you saw some of those videos, like, there was no rhyme or reason to it. Not at all. So I'm sure that confused a lot of people, and I'm sure a lot of fans I put off of me. I know I did, and I'm really sorry for that. I don't expect forgiveness for any of this. I don't expect you to understand what bipolar disorder is, because I'm still learning what the heck it is. I mean, when you go off the rails and you have a manic episode, there's nothing you can do. You're supposed to be hospitalized. I should have been hospitalized, but I do social media for a living, and everything was public. That's one of those things that it's with modern day. Normally, you don't have social media. People don't see your manic episode. And I had so many fans who were trying to help me, who could see it before I could. And thank you guys for being there and trying to get me to see it. But as you know, as I've explained, when you're delusional and you're manic, it doesn't matter what anybody says. You think that they're the crazy ones. So thank you to those people who were there and tried to get me to realize what I was doing. I still didn't get it. I still kept going, talking crazy stuff, being destructive, being negative, turning on my fans, saying really horrible things. And I'm sorry. It's horrible, and nobody deserves to have experienced any hurt or any pain that I may have caused. And it sucks, because I look at myself, and in my mind there's depressed Nico, which is part of the bipolar, normal Nico, sane, balanced Nico, and there's manic Nico, and that's the crazy one. Depressed one is, better than manic one, because mania puts you in such delusional state. And I also want to take a second to say, if you have bipolar disorder or believe that you have bipolar disorder, consult a medical health professional. And I wish more people would talk about this, and I wish more people would come online and share their stories of mania and some of the crazy things that they believed and crazy things they did, because there's not that many online. People are incredibly embarrassed with what they did during manic episodes. A lot of the same stuff that I did, and you ostracize your family and the people that are close to you. You believe in crazy things like freaking God is talking to you. People believe that they're Jesus Christ reincarnated, and that's a common delusion. Common. It's crazy. Anyway, the point is, I'm sorry, man. And there's really not much that I can say besides I'm sorry. That was crazy, dude. That was crazy. I was acting crazy. I didn't know why I was acting crazy. I wish I did, because in my right mind, I never would have said any of that crap. Never. I wouldn't have started fights. I wouldn't have acted like that towards my audience. And yeah, it's good to have the diagnosis now. Talk to a medical health professional if you feel like you're experiencing symptoms. This is another part of my story. And I know that I'll take this with me, and I'll be speaking on this more in the future. Like, I want to take this to stages and talk about my experience with this crap, and that bipolar can kick your butt, because this is how many months in, and I'm learning how to manage it and deal with it now more. And yeah, and I want to teach about love and acceptance, and that's what I've done for years now. And now I'm having to learn to love and accept this diagnosis and deal with the repercussions of, the horrible things I did. And that's not fair to any of you. And all I can really do is say I'm sorry, and you don't have to forgive me. You really don't. This is just at least so you know what went down and why I was crazy. And I would never in my right mind say any of that stuff or believe any of the stuff that I was doing, because, you're a person. You're a person just like me. You are. And just because you're here is why you deserve respect and love. And anybody who gets in the way of that, bad person. And I'm sorry that I got in the way of that for some of you. You don't deserve the crap. Nobody did. Especially not Sujia. She got so much, bro. I'm sorry, and thank you for listening if you got this far. And I'll be doing better. Just gonna keep on making videos and keep on striving to make people laugh and make people love themselves.